Okay guys, today we're reading Shelia Rae the Brave, and it's by Kevin Hinks again. This book is a hard book, so make sure that if you're going to take the AR test, you read it about 5 times, okay? So, Shelia the Brave by Kevin Hinks. Here we go. Shelia Rae wasn't afraid of anything. She wasn't afraid of the dark. She wasn't afraid of thunder and lightning. And she wasn't afraid of the big black dog at the end of the block. Sounds pretty brave. At dinner, Shelia Rae made believe that the cherries in her fruit cocktail were the eyes of dead bears, and then she ate 5 of them. At school, Shelia Rae giggled when the principal walked by. And when her classmate Wendell stole her jumping rope during recess, Shelia Rae tied him up until the bell rang. "I am very brave," said Shelia Rae, patting herself on the back. Shelia Rae stepped on every crack on the sidewalk without fear. When her sister Louise said there was a monster in the closet, Shelia Rae would attack it. And when she rode her bicycle, no-handed with her eyes closed, "Yeah, Shelia Rae," her friends would yell, clapping their hands. Ooh. She doesn't really care if it's dangerous, does she? She'll just do it. One day, Shelia Rae decided to walk home from school a new way. Louise was afraid to. "Well, you're too brave for me," said Louise. "You're always such a scaredy cat," Shelia Rae called. "Am not," whispered Louise. Shelia Rae started skipping off. "I am brave, I am fearless," she sang. She stepped on every crack and walked backwards with her eyes closed. She growled at stray dogs and bared her teeth at stray cats. And she pretended that the trees were evil creatures and climbed up them and broke their fingers off. Snap, snap, snap. Shelia Rae walked and walked. She turned corners, she crossed streets, and suddenly it occurred to Shelia Rae that nothing looked familiar. Shelia Rae heard frightening noises. They sounded worse than thunder. She thought horrible thoughts. They were worse than anything she'd ever imagined. "I am brave," Shelia Rae tried to convince herself. "I am fearless." The sounds became more frightening and the thoughts became more horrible. Shelia Rae sat down on a rock and cried. "Help," she sniffed. She thought of her mother and her father and of Louise. "Mother, father, Louise," she cried. "Here I am," a voice said. "Louise!" Shelia Rae hugged her sister. "We are lost," Shelia Rae said. "No, we're not," said Louise. "I know the way home. Follow me." Well, if I can turn the pages. Louise stepped on every crack. Louise walked backwards with her eyes closed. She growled at stray dogs and bared her teeth at stray cats. So who's the brave one now? Louise, isn't it? She pretended that the trees were evil creatures and jumped up and broke their fingers off. Snap, snap, snap. Shelia Rae walked quietly behind her. They walked and walked. They crossed streets. They turned corners. Soon, their house could be seen between the trees. Shelia Rae grabbed Louise and dashed up the street. When they reached their own yard and the gate closed behind them, Shelia Rae said, "Louise, you are so brave. You are fearless." "We both are," said Louise, and they walked backwards into the house with their eyes closed. Okay, so this is Shelia Rae the Brave, and it's by Kevin Hinks. This book does have an AR test, but guys, I need you to read this book at least 5 times before you take it because it is really tricky. And I need you to make sure that you have an adult nearby in case the questions get too hard, okay? Thank you for reading with me.